Alright everybody, it is getting late. I just did a bunch of running around trying to get stuff for the car, and I only have a few days left before the wedding, so I'm in a huge hurry. So here's a quick rundown of tonight's plan. My goal tonight is to do two things. Get the brake lights working, and I need to get all the paint off of the top of the car. I tried using that paint stripper yesterday, and it did not do nearly as well as I thought it would. I let it sit for hours and hours, kept moving it around, did the whole top, and it looks like trash. First thing I'm going to do tonight is just get all the paint off of the top of the car. Okay, I've actually changed my mind. Brake lights first, and then taking the paint off the top of the car, because I'm going to have to cover the entire car in plastic. I got this nifty little mechanical brake light switch from a place that rhymes with O'Styles. So here's the craptastic idea that I have conjured up. There's my little angle. You can see the little lever there on the brake lever there. Hopefully that is not too far out so the brake lights are not always on. I put in a starter button that bypasses the relay. So I turn the key, push this button, car starts. I want people to be able to learn things that they don't know, but I try and make it fun and entertaining at the same time. And it's really kind of hard when your deadline is super short. And please let me know in the comments, what do you like better? Would you rather I be informative? Is it funny? Is it not funny? Am I just a am I getting everything wrong? Let me know what your personal opinion of my channel is. Please, let me know what your personal opinion is. I would like to know. I can't figure it out for the life of me. Brake lights just will not work. I'm not getting any power. I'm gonna have to figure this out tomorrow. It's really cold in here. So I'm gonna go do some research and come back to it. We see you guys tomorrow. Well, this is kind of awkward. It's obviously not the next day. It's actually the new year. We're just barely into January of 2019, so Happy New Year, everybody. I hope yours is going better than mine. I'm a little laid up at the moment. I injured the old knee today. But I wanted to tell you a little bit about this part of the video. So I had this whole bit filmed where I was dressed as a news anchor, and I had a giant like 70s stash that I drew on my upper lip with some makeup, and it was pretty funny. It just didn't quite work out. I had some technical difficulties, and I was trying to make it sound like my cousin Curtis was a reporter just because of the way he filmed the clips that you're about to see.
Well, I figured I'd take a moment to help Colin out with a little bit of a video since we've been kind of rushed all day. But yes, that is his 55 DeSoto Fireflight going down the road to his wedding. We might be a tad late, but we will make it. Scratch that. We're paused. Ah.
Got it.
Got it?
Yeah, I think.
Thought I had it. Ow! Oh!
Alright, let's go.
Go.
So in that clip when we're pulled over, I had only made it about a mile from my house. The big cloud of smoke started coming out of the exhaust, so I pulled over immediately, and basically right as soon as I pulled over, the smoke cleared up. I have no idea why it happened. It hasn't done it since. It runs just fine, but yeah, it was bad, and then it was gone. So I threw another quart of trans fluid in it, and went to get back in the car, and proceeded to break the driver's door handle, which is what you guys were seeing me mess with, and I also smashed the crap out of my pinky finger, which is healed now because it's been like 3 months. Sorry it's taken so long. But yeah, that's what that was. Also, that red stuff on my hands, that's not blood. That was paint from the top of the car, which we painted literally right before we left. My dad, my cousin Curtis, and I took about 5 minutes with each of us with a spray can and just went over the whole thing. I mean, it got all over the chrome, it got all over the windows, but at least it didn't look like complete trash. So I'm glad that happened.
Alright, video update number 2. Another quart of trans fluid. pulled some window trim off the windshield because that was losing. It is now raining with a slight of hail. Still running a little bit late, still on the road.
The most craptastic thing about it raining and snowing just a tiny bit on the way to the wedding was not only were there no seals around the doors or windows, it was really mostly that I didn't have any windshield wipers. I had totally forgotten that the switch that turns on the windshield wipers was bad. It's got a really bad short in it. They almost never work. And I had completely spaced it. So by the time we left and it started raining, that's when I realized, oh yeah, I don't have any windshield wipers. And that was pretty lovely. Also, the trim right above the windshield started to come off driving down the highway. So that's what Curtis is talking about. All right, let's get to the clip of Whitney and I getting in the car to leave, having our little cutesy little send-off dealio. To sincerely apologize for not filming the day before the wedding and the day of the wedding. Those 2 days were a complete scramble, and I was so worried I wasn't going to get this thing roadworthy in time that I just said, bag it. I have to get this done. So I do apologize. I am going to go over what we did to get the car done and ready in time. Whitney's staring at me. It's super awkward. You should definitely wear that. It's almost Halloween, by the way. Honeydew intermission for a second. She's trying to pick out a costume for tonight. We're going to a party. It is really cute. You should do that. Let's take a gander at the old girl, shall we? And I'll kind of go over some of the things we did. Brake lights. I was working on brake lights last time you saw me, and never could get them to work. Traced all the wires, tried to figure out what was what. Turns out the brake lights run off of the same wire as the blinkers. So because I could not get the brake lights to work, we cut the wires for the blinkers because they did work, and just spliced a power wire to them so that I would at least have brake lights and I could just use hand signals for turning. I didn't think that would be too big of an issue, but that didn't work. As soon as we did that, the blinkers stopped working. So scrap that idea, I guess. And also the brakes, although we did bleed them fairly extensively, they barely work. You have to really pump the brake pedal to stop, and the parking brake was not all that great either. I had to really plan ahead stopping so that I could keep the brakes pumped up, and also the transmission was really low on fluid and we didn't have enough, so from a stop I'd have to rev it up a little bit and then slam it in drive, and the car would lurch forward, and it wasn't super pretty, and it was a really sketchy drive, but we made it. So despite a few problems on the way to and from the wedding back home, including terrible brakes, no brake lights, and no blinkers, along with no windshield wipers, I'd call this a success. I would call this a success. I'm very happy with how it turned out. The engine runs perfectly. It doesn't smoke. It doesn't hesitate. The transmission needs a little bit of work, but it's also really low on fluid. That is it for the DeSoto for right now. It needs a lot of parts. It needs to be converted over to 12 volt very badly. It's so hard to find. Even 6 volt light bulbs. I have a huge stash of 6 volt light bulbs just in case, but there's a lot of wiring that needs to be replaced. The starter relay is bad, and a new one is like $300, so no thank you. A 12 volt conversion kit is not that expensive. So I'm going to try and get a hold of one of those and do a whole rewire of the entire car. Also needs new tires, new wheels, needs to be repainted on the top. So you may be asking yourselves,
Well, what is he gonna do next? Well, I'll tell you right now. This is next. I also have one other secret project that I am super stoked about. I'm so excited. I'm gonna do it as cheap as possible. Just make a fun little thing, and that'll be some actual fabricating. You know, this channel is called Lefty's Fabrication, which is actually just my business name. I have a lot of really cool projects set up for this coming year. I will get to the F100 when it is warm again. This, because it's been on the waiting list for so long, this needs to get done first. Yeah, I love secrets, as long as they're like told to me later and they're good. I'm weird. I'm sorry. Alright, everybody, that is it for this episode. Whitney and I are headed out to... Oh, there's Whitney. We're headed out. Go ahead, dude. Headed out to go enjoy some reggae music from a live band and eat some dinner. Hello and goodbye from Jamaica. We'll see you next time. Oh, also we fed some stray cats. If you like what you saw in the video, please give it a thumbs up. It helps more people see it. Thank you, Whitney. Please subscribe if you'd like to see more. Also, remember to turn on that little notification bell. Ding, 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 ding. And we will see you in the next one.
Peace.